Dave Koken turned 70 on January 13th, and we want to celebrate Dave's 70th all week long by offering everyone 7 days of his all-access service for just $70 using coupon code KOKEN70 when checking out on a 7-day all-access pass. That's every play in every sport for 7 days, including any 5% releases for just $70, coming out to only $10 a day. Dave is a legend in this business, with many calling him the GOAT. Despite betting and winning in sports since the Black Sox scandal, he could be enjoying one of the best runs of his career since joining Wager Talk. Look at his lifetime numbers since joining the Wager Talk family exclusively. Number 1 in total profit, number 1 in college football, number 1 in golf, number 2 in NHL, and number 4 in MLB. Just like fine wine, Dave Koken is getting better with age. Happy birthday, Dave, and take advantage of code KOKEN70 and get 7 days for only $70.
Hey guys, welcome back to Wager Talk TV. It is Wednesday, January 11th. We are here to break down 4 games for you. I am Andrew McInnis, of course. I have Carmine Bianco and Lawrence Pressman, our usual lineup for Wednesday's show. Guys, yesterday a very weird night in the NHL, but if you're someone that likes to bet on goals, you made some money, especially first period totals. They go 9-1 to the over yesterday. Lots of high-scoring games yesterday as well. Every single game pretty much besides that Islanders and Stars game. Got to say, even if it's just a lean for me, I think I'm pretty much just done going over with 5.5. I realize they are low for a reason. But yesterday for me, a quick little recap of 1-1 night with clients. I had the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first period puck line, but I did have the Calgary Flames, and that was a bad one. They blew a 3-1 lead and continued to take me down that road of bad beats I don't like, or bad bets maybe, but those are really bothersome. A lot of blown leads happening. And how about that Sabres, or that Canucks and Pittsburgh game? 3-0 for the Canucks, like 10 minutes into the game, and then Pittsburgh scores 3 straight and then scores a couple more. What a game that was. It was a wild night in the NHL. Also a wild night for my co-host Carmine for a big 5% winner on the Florida Panthers yesterday. Carm, man, I don't know if you were able to sleep right away after that game was over, man, but if I were you, my heart would have been pounding a little bit. I would have needed some time to relax. That was a big game, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. It just and I think it was 10-0 on the first period overs. I saw somewhere it looks like it was 10-0 on the first period overs, which is kind of crazy.
Oh yes,
it was just a crazy night of scoring, Andrew. But yeah, it like can't it be easy for once? Like literally, Florida did what I thought they would. They got out to a nice early lead, 4-1 in the third period, but you can never count out the Colorado Avalanche. And Colorado comes back. They had 1 goal disallowed, but then they score right after it and make it 4-4. And if you saw the way the NHL games were going, I know you tweeted out about it, the Vancouver one. Vancouver jumps out to a 3-0 lead, and then Pittsburgh rolls over. It was a night of blown leads. The Calgary Flames against the St. Louis Blues blow a lead. Carolina against the New Jersey Devils blow a lead. So once Colorado came back and tied up at 4, I was already trying to figure out what my apology tweet was going to be on Twitter to everyone that bought, because a lot of people joined me for that play yesterday, and I thank you guys for that. But you're only as good as your last play, and last play will be the ones that we post and talk about today. But a good day yesterday, because we swept our show best bets, which is pretty good. I'm pretty happy about that, and we're going to try and do it again. And because the Prez is on, and I've been bugging you and him about this in text messages, guys, I binge watched and finished watching yesterday on Amazon Prime The Offer. It's called The Offer, 10 episodes, absolutely phenomenal series, probably the best series I've ever watched, with Miles Teller and Giovanni Ribisi on the making of The Godfather. And everything that they had to go through, it's being depicted on what they went through. It's absolutely phenomenal how the mob was involved. Frank Sinatra was involved in trying to get this, The Godfather movie stopped and not made. It's absolutely a phenomenal movie. You got to watch it. That's the only recommendation I'm going to give you as far as series go. I leave those other ones up to this guy. Hello, Prez.
Hello, Carmine. Just finished the show Wednesday. Wowzers. That is a good show, dude. I have a 14-year-old boy in my house. He's crushing hard on Jenna Ortega, who plays Wednesday. I'm thinking there are a lot of 14-year-old boys around the world crushing hard on this girl. And I'm all for it. She's cute, but she's younger than my daughter, so let's move on.
Yeah.
Damn. Let's move on.
I guess that's probably
Andrew. You're losing. Yeah. Let's go. Before we talk about hockey, I wanted to say one thing, and I think we have some pictures of this. You guys do not understand our office. If you've ever had to contact our office in Detroit, they are absolutely phenomenal in everything that they do for us. I'll message them a minute before the show. I need a coupon code for Brian Leonard or Buster or Pavlos. So I talk to the guys because I host 2 shows with Andrew here, and then I also do the Stoppage Time soccer one. And I messaged the guys and I said, we're going to treat them to lunch in the Detroit office. I let Missy know, and look at the spread that they ordered from this Italian restaurant, Antonio's, in Detroit. And they had I saw that I gained 5 pounds just looking at the pictures of the food there, that I had to actually order food last night. I ordered Italian. I ordered this a ponzo the size of my head, and that's big. And then some tortellini, some meat tortellini. I had to join them in that Italian thing. So a big thank you to our office, and then of course to Andrew, Kevin Dolan, Nick Borman, and Pavlos, who messaged me and said, let's do this, and let's send some food over to them. Our next one is going to be sending some food to our Philadelphia office because our production crew there is fabulous. Anyways, Andrew.
What are you talking about? There's only one guy.
Let's talk hockey.
There's one guy. His name is Dan. Send him a bottle of Spam. Move on. Let's go.
Yeah, let's get into it. And just to correct myself, Carm, you're right there. It was 10-0 first period overs, 9-1 for full game overs. So, excuse me, anybody that loves betting overs had a really good day yesterday. That's for sure. And yeah, that spread does look really good, Carm. I can't wait till you make me a lasagna one day. You do enough for me, but I've seen lasagnas that you've made for Prez and everybody else. So one day I'll get to try out the famous lasagna that you made.
Yeah. You won't. Yeah. And I would like to say for the record that you guys are incredible. I mean, the way you ignored Dan by sending food to the Detroit office was spectacular. And in all seriousness, Carmine, you know that I think you are the generous man that I aspire to be. You are incredible, like flat out. My God,
Prez,
if I ever needed anything, I know who I'd call.
All right, I'll send you. I know Prez wants a lasagna. When Andrew comes up,
I don't want lasagna, dude. Vivian's gone keto. I'm trying to cut out carbs a little bit, work on the biceps. Yeah, no lasagna from me. I honestly, Carm, I want your time.
Oh, how sweet is that? How sweet is that? All right, since my voice is still killing me, I'm going to try and refrain from talking as much as possible. Today's games, we've got Capitals, Flyers, Predators, Leafs, Oilers, Ducks, and Sharks taking on the LA Kings. First game here, Capitals and Flyers. Flyers plus 150, Capitals minus 180, total at 6. You know, you take a look at this game here, Carm. The Philadelphia Flyers, their California road trip, they played really well. They played some good hockey. They came home. They had a bad loss. They turned it around and win right away. Put up a bunch of goals, play well defensively against Buffalo. I mean, you know, at this price of plus 150, you're kind of intrigued a little bit, but I'll tell you where I want to go here is the under. I mean, I think that what's been really good for them is they've been really protecting their own end. They've been making zone entries very difficult for their opponent. And sure, they've been scoring a little bit, but I think a lot of it has to do with how they've been playing as a team and making the ice small and playing really well defensively. And I think the Capitals, I think on a large scale this year, they probably are an over team. But I think they play their best hockey as well, actually, when they're playing in lower scoring games. So I kind of want to stay away from the 180 and plus 150. And I don't really love the side here in this game, but I think I do like the under here. As Philadelphia is, everybody thinks that they're this big team you can bet overs with all the time, but you can actually find some sneaky under spots with them, I think, and I feel like this could be a spot for it here. So I'll go under 6 with the Flyers and Capitals. Carm, what do you think?
Yeah, listen, I can't blame you. We talked about on a show earlier this week about the fact that against the Sabres, they played the perfect road game. They shut down a Sabres team that were scoring a lot of goals, and they're playing well. In hindsight, we talk about the Flyers. We joke around about the Flyers and the Ducks and Columbus and Montreal tanking to get that first pick in the draft, or have the best chance to get the first pick in the draft. But you look at their coach, and John Tortorella is not going to make his team tank. He wants his team to win. And you look at their last 10 games, they've gone 6-4 the last 10 games, but 2 of them were losses to the Leafs. One of them losing 4-3. They lost to Carolina by a goal, 6-5. They lose to the Rangers as well too. And you talked about it, that very good road trip. They've won 5 of their last 6 games. I remember someone saying in the chat earlier this week, what is Carmine smoking? You might think that, have I gotten into Prez's edibles? Because I honestly believe that the Flyers are a live dog tonight. If it's Carter Hart net, his goals against average for a team that isn't even close to a playoff spot right now, it's at something, I think it's 2.92. He had a great start to the year. And then of course, because they were using him pretty much every single night or every single game, he went through that lull, he had some regression, and now he's starting to play well again. This is a team that if they can replicate anything close to that game against the Buffalo Sabres, but at home on a home ice, they've got a good chance of beating this Washington team. I'm not taking Washington at 180. If anything, I'm gonna lean to the dog here and look for a bit of an upset a night after we saw a lot of favorites win and a lot of high-scoring games. So that's my thoughts. Prez?
Firstly, shout out to RJ Arsenault. He writes, Prez has been saying some creepy shit lately. It's the show Wednesday. What can I tell you? I'm just keeping to the plot line of saying creepy shit. So in regards to this game, Andrew and Carm, you both are looking at the under, and I look at this game and I'm like, okay, Philadelphia's gone over the total 7 out of 10 times. They put up 4, 2, 6, 4, 4, 4, 5, 3, 5, 3. That just doesn't sound like a team that is playing to the under. Washington has gone over the total 4 out of their last 6 games. So I have to look at this and think to myself, what would the Prez do? The Prez would play the over. How bad is the Prez right now in NHL? The play is the under. Flat out. That's how we're going to handicap this one. I would normally take the over. I don't think I've had 2 winning NHL days in 6 weeks. I'm just so completely and totally out of sync right now that the definitive play is the under. That is analysis, people. Fade the Prez's thoughts in hockey, minus 115.
All right. Let's get this under. Yeah, Prez, I've got some buddies. We used to always watch Sunday football together, and they'd come over super hungover on Sundays, and we would talk about, hey, what do you like for your picks? He's like, oh, man, well, I really love the Chiefs minus the points, so I'm going to fade myself and take the dog. He used to always say that whatever he loved, he's like, so I'm just going to – everything I love, I'm just going to fade. It was almost like Steve Merrill's Fade the Public video. This guy would just take everything he loved and just bet the opposite of it out. I never really understood it, but he made some money doing it, so I can't really hate on it.
Andrew, it's the George Costanza way of handicapping. It's like when Jerry says to him, if everything you do is wrong, then the opposite must be right. And there you go. So yeah, he picks his teams and then just goes the opposite.
I got to speak to that in all seriousness because JP, who's clearly a customer of mine, wrote, "So should I fade your play tonight, Prez?" And I do have a play up for my clients. And the answer, JP, is no. In all seriousness, it has been a tough 5-6 weeks in NHL. The same thing happened last year. And I ended up from February 1st to the end of the playoffs. I think I made 80, 90 units of profit. And I went into February 1st down like 70 units. I'm only down about 21 units on the season right now. I'm going to turn it around. Like I'm extremely confident in my NHL handicapping. But when you're looking at what are we talking about here? This is an 8-9 month soiree, if you will. Man, I'm going to have these stretches, and it has been extremely frustrating. You know, last night I did go 1-1, and I'm really thinking that I'm going to have a good night tonight. You know, I look at the Washington Capitals game. I honestly can't find a bet in it. Washington is a stone-cold under team to begin with. I like to play Washington under, but Philadelphia is scoring a lot of goals right now, which is very strange given the Fonz is their coach. But, you know, I can't find a bet. I'm just going to go roll with you guys. You both like the under. Let's go with the under.
All right, let's get into the next game here. The Predators and the Maple Leafs going head-to-head in Toronto. This is a Nashville team that's plus 160 tonight on the road. Like I said, here in Toronto, minus 190, total at 6, but a Nashville team on a little bit of a run here.
Yeah.
I got called in our comment section. I apologize to forget your name, but I've pretty much been getting called a Nashville hater here, guys, and I've been a Nashville hater for a few years, I guess. And I guess when people watch the show a lot, follow me on Twitter, you can kind of get to know teams I like and teams I don't like besides my actual favorite team, which is Montreal. The thing is with Nashville, it's always bothered me, is that they never take that next step. They never make a move at the deadline, never pick up free agents in the offseason. They've just been what the kids these days call mid. That's what they are. They're mid. I mean, they're not great. They're not bad. They're just there. They're a team that might make the playoffs and then lose in the first round. They might not. They might almost make the playoffs. That's why I don't like the Predators, guys. But this is the thing. They are going on a little bit of a run right now. Beat Ottawa, beat Washington, Carolina, Montreal. I mean, and in that span, playing some pretty good defense. This is the thing, though. Toronto is a team that I think these are usually the games they show up against. I mean, a lot of times people will bet against Toronto when they're playing, bottom tier opponents because they don't get up for those games. Like they've lost so many games in a row to teams like, Arizona, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But an opponent like Nashville, Prez, I think Toronto gets up for. And after they had a little bit of a slump where they lost 2 in a row, they won 1, lost couple. I feel like they're going to get ready to play some good hockey here, this Toronto team. So I'm not going to overthink it. I think the puck line's the play here for the Maple Leafs. What do you think?
Andrew, I like talking about the people in the chat. I'll get into this game in 1 second, but the Grinch writes, Predators have the worst name in sports. No chance. Firstly, I love their name. Secondly, the Commanders are the worst name in sports. And thirdly, I agree with your take on this game, Andrew. I look at this game, and let me just say something to you, because this affects a few teams in the league. The Hurricanes, the Bruins, the Leafs, the Vegas, like all the top teams. If you look at the top teams and you wait until they lose 2 games in a row, Toronto lost 6-5 to St. Louis and 5-1 to Seattle. Wait for them to lose 2 games in a row, then they win 6 or 7 straight. And that's where the Leafs are right now. They lost 2 in a row. They came back. They beat Detroit. They beat Philadelphia. And I think Toronto is going to go on a little bit of a run over the next couple of weeks. And then they'll lose a couple of games again. And so the circle will continue. I like Toronto tonight, and I do like the over. And I understand that Karma's going to talk about Nashville's stingy defense and how they're holding teams down to so many goals. This Nashville team is also scoring in their last few games. They put up 3, 3, 5, 6, 4, 6, 2, 2-4-4. That's only 2 games in the last 10 that they put up less than 3. I don't believe any team can hold Toronto down if Toronto wants to score. I can easily see this game being one of those letdown spots for Nashville. This is Nashville's 4th game on the road in a row. I could see this game being a 5-2, 6-2 type affair. I like the Leafs. I like the over.
Only thing worrying me here, Carm, we are seeing the Austin Matthews listed as questionable for tonight, but I do agree with a lot of the stuff that Prez just said about teams that go through a little bit of a rough patch. They lose 2 games in a row almost to get refocused, and maybe that's what happened to the Maple Leafs. But no denying right now, Carm, this Predators team, they're playing some good hockey. What do you think?
They are. Listen, before I get into that, I just want to mention, because I should have mentioned it at the top of the show, but Wager Talk and Sports Memo have an absolutely fantastic deal on NBA, on college basketball, but as far as this show goes, on NHL, where you can get the rest of the NHL season for $299. It's a great deal because there's a ton of NHLs left. I think it's 3+ months of the NHL regular season, and then we still have the playoffs up ahead. So $299 is an absolutely great deal. Now, Prez was right in a way. I am going to talk about Nashville. Listen, you guys know I've talked about over the last 2 or 3 games the fact that Nashville is holding teams to 3 goals or less, and these are some very good teams that their team totals are normally set at 3.5. The Leafs team total is set at 3.5 minus 120 both ways. I'm seeing online right now. Nashville 19-3 their last 22 games. What is that? That's not their win-loss record. That is how many opponents they've kept to 3 or fewer goals. 19 opponents they've kept to 3 or fewer goals in their last 22 games. And I get it. This Toronto team is a high-flying team. They're just playing well, or their goalies are playing well. And how are their goalies playing well? Perfect example. They beat the Carolina Hurricanes 5-3, and Carolina had 67 shots on goal. I can't remember the last time I saw a team get 67 shots on goal in a game that did not include overtime. No overtime in that game. 67 shots. Saros stood on his head, and Nashville gets to win. So I expect the Leafs to win tonight. I'm not saying the Leafs aren't going to win tonight, but I would probably lean to the under because this is probably going to be another low-scoring Nashville. Nashville wins. For Nashville to win, this has to be a low-scoring game. If this becomes a high-scoring game, the Leafs have just so many weapons that they can roll out and score goals. And if Saros has an off night, it's going to be an ugly night for Nashville. So I think the Leafs are the right play here. You can take them in regulation, but you can still take the Leafs and take the Nashville team total under 3.5, or the Leafs team total under 3.5, and look for Nashville to go 20 of 23 on that stat. When you find a stat like that, that's a moneymaker. You can't just ignore it. You have to take it into consideration. So that's what I'm looking at here. Leafs team total under 3.5, 3-1 Leafs. Everyone's happy.
Andrew?
I'd be happy with that for sure. What's up, Prez?
Andrew Elliott writes, Prez likes the Leafs, no surprise. Elliott clearly hasn't listened to me all year. I actually picked Arizona against the Leafs at plus 400 and change twice. I don't bet a lot on the Leafs, man. Like, in all seriousness, guys, if you buy my plays, I don't release the Leafs much. So, Elliott, behave.
One thing I noticed about this Nashville team, too, is that it's actually kind of crazy that they've been playing really well, and they haven't even been scoring on the power play. A lot of teams, when they go on these streaks or they start playing well, it's because they're just maybe getting a lot of power play opportunities. Nashville just won their game 3-0 against Ottawa. They went 0 for 5 on the power play. So we'll see what happens here tonight. But you got to be a good team on your special teams to be able to be successful, because it's hard enough. I mean, Toronto does not get enough credit for how responsible they've been in their own end.
Yes.
Defensively.
Yep.
The forwards are playing a lot better. That's been the most impressive thing to me about the Maple Leafs this year. Nothing to do with stats or Mitch Marner's streak or any of that stuff. It's been the defensive capability of their forwards. And if Nashville can't score in the power play, that'll hurt them big time there. But I think I would lean towards the under too. But I usually hate taking puck lines, Carm, and the over or the under. You know what I mean? I feel like it almost is like counterintuitive.
Yeah, of
like
course.
It's because you start thinking about correlated plays, and when you like a favorite, you take the over. And this is also why Vegas keeps building those fabulous hotels and casinos, because if you get enough people just betting favorites and overs and taking bad numbers, it's just a winning proposition for them long term. But they make all their money on penny slots anyways. But Prez, before you jump in, when you talked about bad team names, I remember once one of my friends posts a losing play in our WhatsApp chat, and I'm like, dude, you're betting Bolivian soccer. What are you doing? He goes, look at the name of the team. He bet on a team that's called The Strongest. That's the name of the team. And the only reason he bet on this is because their name is The Strongest.
And by the way, I like that name. I mean, I don't love that name, but I hate the Commanders so much. But I'll tell you really quick, Carm, I hate the Raptors. I understand that history has shown that almost all Raptors were born and lived in Toronto. That's why we called our team the Raptors. We've always been known as the birth of Raptors, but that name is absolutely idiotic at the highest level of idiocy, especially considering we have at the time the world's largest building, which is called a tower, which is relevant to tall people, which links to basketball, which has an alliteration, Toronto Towers. But no, they had to go with the Raptors. They had to honor our heritage, when the Raptors ran free on the plains of Toronto. Anyway, I'm done. What am I talking about?
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny, Prez. But you got to say, the old-fashioned logo looks sick. Like, I think the old logo for the Raptors is awesome. I like their old jerseys.
Or that stupid purple dinosaur.
Yeah, that one. The old with the actual, the new jerseys I don't like. But if I ever own a hockey team, I just want to call them the hockey team. Just like they did in football
I loved the Washington Football Club. I thought that was an outstanding name. Hell of a lot better than the Commanders.
The name I like, the Anaheim Ducks, and they're in action tonight against the Edmonton Oilers, Andrew.
Look at that.
They are. They are in action, Carm. They are in action. And they're a team the Oilers are hoping they can get their act together against. Let's be honest here. They're minus 250. Anaheim plus 200, total at 6.5. None of these prices or the total are a surprise to anybody. But you know what? I said this in the last show, and I'll say it again. Right now with this Oilers team, it is back to what pretty much I've been saying, and Prez and Carm, we've been talking about since I met these guys, since I started doing Puck Time, is that it's either a power play goal, a Draisaitl goal, or a McDavid goal. And sometimes it's both those things at the exact same time. The depth is hurting on this team right now.
Yeah.
They aren't playing well overall as a team. But Carm always tells us about this Ducks team, the amount of shots on goal they allow per game. I mean, if there's ever a team for the Edmonton Oilers to try and bounce back against, to try and get rolling against and find their offense, it's got to be this team, guys. I mean, that's kind of how I feel here. Edmonton goes 0 for 6 on the power play. Their last game, they still put up 3 goals, but they give up 6 goals against LA. I mean, honestly, I don't even lay juice that much and like laying big prices, Carm, but they're minus 250 on the money line, and the team total was like 160. I thought about betting that, and I still might do it because I think we're going to get Edmonton to at least 4 goals, but ultimately, I kind of want to just avoid Edmonton in general and just take the over 6.5. I don't think that they're going to be able to learn how to stop giving up weak goals overnight, but I do think they're going to find the back in the net a decent amount of times here. So I think over 6.5 is the play. What about you?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. And, the fact that it's confirmed that's Jack Campbell in goal for Edmonton tonight. He came on for Stuart Skinner in relief after Skinner gave up 3 goals to the Kings, and he allowed 3 himself in that game in that 6-3 loss. So how you feel about the over is how you feel about Jack Campbell. If you think he's turned the corner and is going to start to put some good performances together, I'd rather wait and see if he puts some together. I think you're going to get some Edmonton goals. And Anaheim is the prototypical team. They beat the Sharks, they beat Dallas, but they're a team that is going to lose. If I had to guess, on average, 8 of their 10 games. In every 10-game segment, they're going to lose. They're going to lose 8 of them. I think they're the quite possibly the worst team in the league right now, or are the worst team in the league. So you can look at the puck line as well too. Sometimes we look at shot props, Andrew, and I wanted to make a point of, because I'll give us some shot props. I'm going to do it in the next game, but in this one, you see Connor McDavid at 3.5 minus 160. You would think against Anaheim Ducks team that allows a ton of shots on goal. They allow, I think, on average 38 shots on goal, which is the worst in the NHL. And you think McDavid, he should get his 4 shots on goal. He's 26-16 this year, going over the total of 3.5. But the median price there is usually about 160, 165. So if you calculate that, you're breaking even though McDavid has gone over the total 10 more times than he hasn't. It's why you can't lay the big juice with these shot props. You have to run the numbers, and it just doesn't work with McDavid. He could get there tonight because we're expecting a big Edmonton Oilers win tonight against the Ducks, but I think you're probably better off, like you said, taking the total and the over here, and I think you take the puck line with the Oilers. Prez?
Hey, Carm, you know what's crazy? Just real quick, Carm. McDavid's goal prop does better right now than his shots on goal prop.
Yeah.
He scores more goals than he actually hits with that shots on goal prop. But Prez, what do you think here? I mean, the Oilers aren't playing great hockey, but they get a chance to play the Ducks, right? What do you think?
Well, firstly, like always, I have to go off topic to start my segment. One of the listeners talked about a Japanese team named the Swallows. I just hope to God that's men's. Say, please be a man's baseball team. Otherwise, that would be the worst name ever. I like the over tonight, guys. The one thing we know about Anaheim is they allow teams to score. Boston put up 7 of them last game. San Jose put up 4. I mean, you go down. Yeah, they shut Dallas out, but Philly put up 4. Nashville put up 4. And I agree with your take at the top, Andrew, and that is, if Edmonton wants to get right, this is the type of game. They've lost 2 in a row. I think we're going to see a strong effort by Edmonton. I don't think this Edmonton team is that great, to be honest, and I think ultimately it goes to show when you look at basketball, man, if you've got 3 really good, if you have Drysdale, Connor McDavid, and Darnell Nurse as your 3 in basketball, you could win the whole thing. But it doesn't work like that in hockey. These guys can only play so much, and ultimately we need depth. If you don't have depth, you're going nowhere. And Edmonton doesn't have any depth, but they can score, and their power play is historically good. I like the over in this game.
It really is crazy, Prez, because it's the 9th year McDavid's been in the league. And you have to look at yourself and think to yourself, like, okay, the guy I can start blaming now is the GM. Like, what the hell are they doing around him? What are they building around him, The best player last year in the playoffs, besides McDavid probably, was Evander Kane, someone they just picked up last year, Yeah, Hyman was great, yeah. But he played well, and obviously Draisaitl was injured, but you get my point. I mean, it comes to a point,
Hanoi Hymens. It's one of my favorite team names.
The who?
The Hanoi Hymens.
Look, when you look at this team, it's so hard for me to stay focused. You always make me laugh, but it's so hard for me to stay focused but when you look at this team, really, it's it's hard for anybody to really consistently bet on the top guys, right? Like people that bet on props, they always almost pride themselves into, hitting that plus 300 goal scorer, hitting that, fourth line guy, right? The Oilers are the exact last team in the world you would ever want to try and do that. I think, these are the top guys that do well. Let's be honest. If the Oilers win tonight, one of either Draisaitl or McDavid will score tonight. It's how things work, and Carm, I think that ultimately I would rather take the full game over than Edmonton's team total over just because it's a better price. But I do think we'll get a response from Edmonton. But are you mostly rocking with props for this game, Carm, or you are going to make a play on?
I'm likely going to take the puck line as well too in this one with the Oilers. One of the scary things, Andrew, sometimes in taking the overs in games with when one of the teams is Anaheim is you just don't know if they're going to score because this team is struggling. You know what I mean? Like their last game goes over the total. I think it finishes 7-1. They scored a goal themselves. It is the problem you have with some of these teams is when if you look at their average goals per game and it's under 3, that's a team that you don't want to be taking overs with normally. The caveat of all this is or whatever is that they're playing the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers are a team that can score goals, and the Oilers are also a team that can allow a lot of goals. Skinner hasn't been very good since signing that contract. Jack Campbell hasn't been good all year. I don't know what is going to happen with this team moving forward, but if you're an Oilers fan, there's no way you could feel confident about that goaltending setup that you have right now. I don't even know how Holland still has a job there with this team because you have so much talent and it's getting wasted. At some point, you're going to look at it and people are going to say 5 years down the line, we wasted a franchise that has Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl in it. Two very good players, but then you find it very hard to say who else is there.
I don't know if I could sleep at night if I was the GM of Connor McDavid, and he's been in the league for 9 years, and they haven't done too much. Last year was definitely their best year, but one more game here to get into. I'll save my opinion for the best bet section. Sharks and LA Kings. Here's Sharks plus 175. Kings minus 210. Of course, the Sharks did play last night. Prez, totals at 6.5. What do you think here, Lawrence?
Andrew, I'm going with the over in this game. The bottom line, boys, both these teams are playing to the over. The San Jose Sharks, 26-14 to the over. The LA Kings, not last year's team. They're playing to the over as well on the season. They are 22-19 to the over. The Sharks have gone over the total 8 of their last 10 games with one push. Their last game, which was the game they went under, was 4-2 against Arizona. The LA Kings can score this year. 6 against Edmonton last night, 5 against Vegas. I don't want to overthink this game. I like the over in this game, and I honestly have no real opinion on the side. If I have no opinion on the side, I would take the dog plus 175, but I like the over in this one. There, right, Prez was normal there, Andrew. That was normal
great.
Prez.
That was great. Might have to have you back next Wednesday. Great stuff.
I'll be in Punta Cana. I will not be here next Wednesday.
Okay. Carm, what do you think here in this one?
He won't be here next Wednesday. Awesome. I don't think I'm going to be here next Wednesday either. I'm off next Wednesday.
I wouldn't want to do a show without me.
And Friday, I'm off to Vegas. So I'm looking forward to that trip. Yeah, of course.
I got a meeting.
Anyways,
Carm, let's go.
Anyways, you aren't going to hotels. I hope you aren't going to hotels still, Carm, when you go there.
Yeah.
What I just said, we should buy a place.
I'm staying at Circa. Anyways, with that said, I'm going to look at, listen, I think the Kings are the play here. San Jose is on the second of a back-to-back. Kings we talked about it, and I always talk about things that we talked about in the past, but we said the Kings will get better. A lot was expected of this team, and now they're third in the Western Conference, and they're winning games over the last 10. I think they're 7-3 and 7-2-1. Their last 10. They're winning games. That game against Edmonton was a very impressive one. Even the game in Vegas, where they pretty much shut them down. But I'm looking at a prop in this game, Andrew, just because of the price of this game. I hate to lay the minus 210s. The Sharks can score some goals, so you might want to look at the over. But Timo Meier shot prop is at 3.5, minus 140, minus 140, minus 145, somewhere around there. It is at the height of the juice that I want to lay on these shot props. And prior to his last couple, he had gone 15-5 over that number. He is hitting with regularity, four plus shots per goal. He's averaging 4.62 shots per game this season in the NHL. It's a prop I really like, and it's going to likely make my client card as long as the juice doesn't get overly crazy. So Timo Meier, over 3.5 shots on goal for this one.
Timo time. He is a guy that's definitely up there on the shots on goal. He is a former Halifax Moosehead. There's a good team name for you there, Prez. Mooseheads here in Halifax in the Maritimes. He was a great player for them as well, but a great shots on goal guy in the NHL, and it's too bad he plays for the Sharks. Let's get into the best bet segment here, guys, and I'll start off because my best bet is in this game. Before I jump into that, though, I want to remind everybody about the promo deal that Carm and I are running right now, 2-for-1 puck time special. A lot of you guys joined us yesterday. Hopefully you guys will join us throughout the week on this. It is pretty much a package for 1 week to make sure you're getting all of our plays on the ice. You know, we co-host this show every single day together. You guys hear our opinions, but if you buy that package, you will get our client plays, our favorite plays of the day. I also have a UFC package up on a 12-5, 70% UFC run. Got a 4% for this weekend. But guys, my play on the Sharks and Kings game, it might not be the biggest game of the night, but I feel like there is a spot to make some money. Looking at the San Jose Sharks team total under 2.5 goals here. Usually on this show, we talk about team total overs. San Jose played last night, but they played a very weak opponent. You know, I think LA has been an awesome defensive team, not just their actual defensemen. Their forwards all play very responsibly in their own end. They take care of their own end. And I feel like you look at this Sharks team, they're not a consistent high-scoring team whatsoever. San Jose, second half of a back-to-back, team total under 2.5 for me. My best bet here on Puck Time. Over to you, Carm, for your best bet here for today.
Yeah, and also a reminder of that $2.99 deal that Wager Talk and Sports Memo have up for specific sports. So you can get the rest of the NHL season for $299, which includes playoffs. If you're picking up that, you should handicap the handicappers, and just wonder who do I buy the package on. Andrew and Prez both have a beautiful head of hair. They spend probably an hour in the bathroom showering, shampooing, moisturizing, gelling it. I'm a bald guy. That hour I save goes into analytics to come up with better plays. So handicap
That's your
the
sales
handicappers.
pitch?
Yeah, that's my sales pitch. Now, with that said, guys, 4 plays up in NHL, 3 plays up today in soccer. Let me finish here. 3 plays up in soccer. France's League One, that goes at 1 o'clock today, and then 4 plays up in NHL. A couple plays and a couple player props. I'm going to give you a player prop on today's show. We're going to go to that Edmonton and Anaheim game, and I'm going to take Darnell Nurse. I'm not above sniping plays from other people, and Andrew told me about Jack Hughes. Andrew told me about Darnell Nurse prior to staying under the total in his last couple of games, both losses. Darnell Nurse had gone over his shot prop in 12 of his last 13 games. This guy is money, and if you figure Edmonton is going to get a lot of shots on goal against a team that allows the most shots on goal, Darnell Nurse is going to get his. Darnell Nurse over 2.5, minus 130 is your shot prop winner tonight. Let's hope. Prez, over to you.
Yeah, Firstly, Yisrael asks in the chat, says in the chat room, there's no good pizza in Vegas. Yisrael, the best pizza I've ever had in my life is in Vegas. It's at the Aria Sportsbook. Secondly, Carm talks about moisturizing. What do you guys think? Do you think Andrew and I moisturize our head every morning when we wake up, or does Carm? On top of it, Carm has to shave that head, and then don't forget the half hour that he cries every morning because he doesn't have any hair. So, not buying that take, Carm. As for the best bet, over the total in the Edmonton game. Love doing this show. Will not be here next Wednesday, but back the following. Thank you, guys. I got Wager Talk coming up. Prez freaking out.
Always an interesting show on Wednesdays here. We're that's it for time. Carm, I'd love to chat with you more. Good luck with your soccer today. Prez, good luck with whatever you end up doing with your day today. Of course, Wager Talk today, though, is coming up at 12 o'clock Eastern. Don't forget that 2-for-1 puck time special with Carmine and I. Get all of our client plays in the NHL. Other than that, guys, good luck, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Have you checked out all the new handicappers at Wager Talk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at Wager Talk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to wagertalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.